A German officer. While searching for artifacts at the site of the World War II battles, the diggers discovered a German officer who died in a battle and was buried by his comrades in arms. The officer was covered with a black leather cloak, which was well preserved. For many years of being in the ground, the cloak took the shape of a human skull, creating a mask of death of that brutal war. Unfortunately, the searchers didn't provide more information on the find. In July 1941, during the Soviet counterattack near Lepel, one BT tank drowned in a swamp. It happened near the village of Shebeki, Orsha district in Belarus. The crew managed to leave the vehicle before it went down. At first, the tank didn't sink so deeply and even a handrail antenna sticked out of the water. After the war, the antenna, made of copper, was dismantled by a local resident. In the early 70s, they tried to get the tank out, but it only went deeper under the water. The new stage of the BT recovery began in 1998, when the search group was created specifically for this lifting and restoration work. The group arrived at the place in November 1998. An excavator, a pump and a powerful tractor were allocated to the group to raise the tank. In order to pull the tank out, a special log structure was constructed. A diver in special equipment went down under the ice and fastened towing cables to the tank in the water black of silt. The raised machine turned out to be a BT-7 tank of the 1935 release, with a cylindrical turret of BT-5 and T-26. The presence of the radio station indicated that it was a command tank. The condition amazed the searchers. When the tank was cleaned, they found everything in its place: the bolts and nuts and all the tools, gasoline in tanks, shells in boxes and full discs of cartridges. Only the radio station was destroyed by acid leaking from the batteries. The restorers got the tank going in no time. BT-7 even starred in the Pop movie, where it was remembered for its fiery exhaust from the pipe. Well-known Arnold Schwarzenegger collects tanks and wanted to replenish his collection with the BT-7, but alas, the tank of this model is the only one in the world, and it's historically priceless. At the end of January 2019, the 1940 USS Hornet aircraft carrier was discovered at a depth of 5,200 meters using autonomous underwater vehicles of the Patrol Research Vessel. During the landing of the troops on Guadalcanal in August 1942, the USS Hornet transported US fighter aircraft. Then it joined the USS Wasp and USS Saratoga aircraft carriers and performed the tasks of air support for the troops. To avoid submarine attacks, the USS Hornet was sent to the island of Espiritu Santo, but in early October it continued to provide airstrikes against the Japanese. And on October 25th, it met again with Japanese aircraft carriers at the Battle of Santa Cruz. After opponents discovered each other, on October 26th, two American aircraft carriers took off 158 planes. The first attack of the Japanese was directed towards the aircraft carrier USS Hornet. The ship was attacked by 20 P-5N-Kate torpedo bombers from the IJN Shokaku aircraft carrier and 21 D-3A valve dive bombers from the IJN Zuikaku, accompanied by 12 A-6M-0 fighters. Despite the resistance of the fighters, they managed to hit the aircraft carrier with 4 bombs and 2 torpedoes. In addition, 2 hit aircraft crashed into the ship, 1 D-3A valve and 1 B-5N-Kate. The nearby USS Enterprise wasn't seen because it was hidden by a rainstorm. Losses of the Japanese amounted to 10 B-5N-Kate, 11 D-3A valve and 3 A-6M-0. The Americans lost 6 fighters. While the USS Hornet was attacked, its aircraft attacked the Japanese compound. The first group of 10 dive bombers made 6 hits in the aircraft carrier IJN Shokaku, seriously damaging it. The second group of aircraft with 2 bombs hit the cruiser IJN Chikuma from the escort group. Damage to the USS Hornet was very severe. Fire spread throughout the ship from bow to stern. The fire extinguishing system was damaged and the steering wheel jammed. Thanks to the help of escort destroyers an hour after attack, the fire was extinguished and the cruiser USS Northampton 1929 tried to take the aircraft carrier on tow. However, this attempt was thwarted by a single unarmed B-5N Kate, which, by simulating an attack, forced the tow cable to be cut off. After that, the entire crew, with the exception of emergency teams, was removed from the aircraft carrier. By 3 p.m., a second attempt to take the damaged ship on tow was made. But at that moment, the compound was attacked by another wave of Japanese aircraft. These were 6 B-5N Kate accompanied by 8 A6M0 from the aircraft carrier IJN Junyeo 1941. They managed to take one torpedo into the starboard side of the USS Hornet. Roll increased to 14 degrees. The third and fourth attacks by dive bombers and horizontal bombers with IJN Zuikaku were unsuccessful. Nevertheless, it was decided to stop the struggle and the emergency parties began to leave the doomed aircraft carrier. In the evening, the ship abandoned by the crew was attacked for the last time, getting hit by a bomb. Although the ship was abandoned by the crew and burned, it nevertheless kept afloat. Therefore, it was decided to sink it. First, the destroyer USS Mustin 1938 fired 8 torpedoes at it, of which 3 hit the target. Then, 8 torpedoes were launched by the destroyer USS Anderson 1939. Hit by another 6 torpedoes, the aircraft carrier stayed afloat. The destroyers opened fire from the guns, firing a total of more than 150 shells. At this time, the advanced forces of the Japanese fleet approached, driving away the American destroyers. Japanese tried to tow the USS Hornet, but the ship was so badly damaged and took so much water that the Japanese abandoned their original intention. The destroyers IJN Makiguma 1941 and IJN Akiguma 1941 fired a total of 6 powerful 610mm torpedoes, which eventually led to the sinking of the ship. In total, 130 members of the crew were lost in the battle. The aerial bombs. Volgograd. During the World War II, this city was called Stalingrad, and here in 1942 one of the largest battles of the war unfolded. It has been 80 years since those terrible events, but dangerous finds continue to come across even nowadays. Over the past year, sappers have destroyed more than 1,500 bombs, mines and shells that came across during excavation and building work in the most unexpected places of the city. The German high-power bombs which were dropped on the city are a great danger. One such munition can destroy an entire district of the city. Police officers often have to evacuate hundreds of residents during the work of extracting dangerous finds and transporting them to the military training ground for destruction.